Hi everyone, and welcome to Virgo's June 2021 Love, Abundance, and Spiritual Health Extended Reading. Welcome! So this is I Am Illuminated Tarot and Meaning-Based Spiritual Coaching Services. I am Lauren, and I am so excited to do your reading, Virgo, for this month. So to give you a little background on the month of June, we are coming out of a really dynamic eclipse portal. So last month, in the month of May, we had a lunar eclipse full moon, which pushed us to basically highlight something in our lives that needed to be released. And we are moving as of June 10th into the new moon, which also includes a solar eclipse on the same day, and which is pushing us to take a look at what was highlighted back last month during the full moon, which we were being asked to release, and now we are being pushed to make that release so that we can start with the new moon kind of fresh and walking through the portal of the newness. June is numerologically speaking, a 11 universal month. And 11 is a master number in numerology that really focuses on the spiritual connection between ourselves and the divine. It allows us to almost have this beautiful little window to being able to see the possibilities for ourselves. If we are to be courageous and evolve into the highest version of our unique spiritual selves. And this month for everybody, it doesn't matter what sign you are, is a portal month. It's a month where we're all being asked to step through in some capacity as a new version, a new, better version of ourselves, so that we can really work with that energy for the last half of this year, so that as we move into 2022, which is going to be more of a year of actualization, we are prepared. We're prepared to step up into what we're being asked to step into. I really do have this feeling that each one of us is being asked to reconnect with our own unique abilities and spiritual self, so that coming into 2022, we have this clarity to really be able to meet destiny, the divine design, the universe, God, however you see it, to really meet the unknown and what the unknown is asking of us to step into. Now, Virgo, for you, it's going to be, the energies might be a little interesting for you this month too, because your ruling planet of Mercury is in retrograde currently and will be for most of the month. It's in retrograde in the sign of Gemini, which is another sign that is also ruled by Mercury. And in doing, in being that this is your ruling sign and it's a sign of communication, you might feel this month a little bit of that, kind of what retrogrades are known to do, which is not coming in to ruin your life and ruin electronics and ruin your travel plans for an extended period of time. What retrogrades are called in to do are really to have us kind of come within and push us to re-examine something within ourselves that needs to be reset, so that we can it's almost like rebooting your computer. That's how I look at retrogrades. It's a time for us to reboot ourselves, reevaluate, do the upgrades that take so long, and then, or the updates, and then come back out fresh and the 2.0 version of ourselves. So that's really where I think you guys might be kind of feeling this energy this month, is that not only are you feeling the energy of being pushed to walk through this portal of spiritual evolution, you're being pushed to additionally kind of sit quietly and reevaluate yourself on all levels, especially in areas of communication. And this isn't just verbal communication. This is how you communicate via writing and email, and even in modes like this, if you communicate online in any capacity. And also your thought process around your forms of communication and how you communicate. So this could be a really important month for you. You're going to probably have some aha moments and some beautiful moments too, where as you're kind of being pushed like everybody else is to release something and to step through as this new, brighter, better version of yourself, that you're also going to get this extra level of realizing, okay, this is how I want to communicate my internal self externally. This is what I did do and what I needed to correct, and now you'll have almost like this extra leg up in the communication area. And to kind of go into, for me personally, and after doing the readings this month, I really do feel that we're all being asked to step into the power of our kind of ruling planetary astrological placements, and the energies that are associated with those signs. So for you, if you are a Virgo, sun, moon, or rising, there is this part of you that is meant to bring a healing element to whatever you do. No, you don't have to be in a traditional healing practice, but there is this component that what you do and how you communicate will facilitate healing. And same as well as that you harness the energy of Mercury, so you have this ability to communicate well. And you're being asked now to really heighten both of those aspects of yourself and to work with them, because they're going to be very important moving out of 2021 and into 2022. And this could be kind of that start, that month of starting to really reevaluate and start to work again with both of those energies in yourself. Okay, so this reading is going to be specifically focusing on love, abundance, and spiritual health. I'm going to pull a card for each, and then I'll go into kind of more of the intuitive reading that I will do around those cards. And I'm going to start with a card from the Power of Surrender deck for love. Now, the reason why I use the Power of Surrender is because I do feel that love in general, whether we're talking about romantic love or just more of the ephemeral idea of love, that generally when we're looking at love and we're looking at blocks relating to love, that they usually involve some area of being vulnerable or needing to surrender. And we oftentimes don't want to do that. Nobody wants to be vulnerable. It's difficult. It's very difficult. But we have to be. And at times we have to surrender to something in order to keep the flow of, the energy behind love open, as an open channel for us to be able to give love authentically, by engaging our unique, authentic selves, and to be able to receive love from our external environment. Now, when I talk about love in general, I also bring it up to a higher level. For me, love is another name for the connective energy that connects everything. Not just people, but also the trees, molecules, the largest stars in the sky. It's that element of the connectedness of the intelligence behind our divine design, which is what I believe. That what we see as kind of the unknown and a universe that can be chaotic or surprising, underneath there is this level of intelligent design. And there is what I look at as love, as the larger definition of love, is that in knowing and understanding that there is this divine design, everything truly does have a place. Everything is in its place, and there is this perfection behind that. And that is love. Love for who you are as you are. And it is meant to be not just a one-way flow. It is flowing in all directions, so that everything should be receiving and giving love simultaneously. So when we're talking, and as I say that, your card popped out. So, and this is a big one. Sometimes I look at these cards and they are, have difficult meanings, or they're easier meanings. This is asking you to surrender to something. Now this one specifically, it's surrender to spirit. And it says, once you've done everything you can to achieve a goal, turn the situation over to the divine. Let spirit work its magic for you. Now that sounds beautiful. Like, this is an easy one. I'm just going to sit back and I don't have to work at what I was working at anymore. But this is actually one of the more difficult areas of surrender, because it really leaves us vulnerable to us understanding and really seeing that we are not in control of our external environment. Yes, we are in control of ourselves and the choices that we make and the action that we choose to take when we engage with our external environment. But no, we cannot 100% control our external environment. And that is a very difficult concept to surrender to. That no matter how many times you maybe try to build that house from scratch for yourself, it might fall down. A tornado might come through and knock it down. It might, there's 20,000 things that can happen. It could catch on fire, or you could think you're building this design, and in reality, you look up and you step back and you realize it's this design. And that's the beauty of life, because we are always working with our internal self and our free will in dynamic tension with destiny, with the divine design. And so there's always going to be something outside of our control, something that is unknown, something that is that element of change that we have nothing to do with. And that is so hard to surrender to. It is so hard to surrender to. It sounds beautiful, right? Surrender to spirit and everything will come to be as it is. And in reality, what you're being asked to do is, you've tried your best. Now you have to let the outcome be what it will be. So it's showing me here that in the area of love, there has been an element where you have been engaging your internal self with the external environment, and you've been giving love towards something. And when I say love, I mean you've been dedicating your own energy towards it. You've either been working really hard at work and showing love by showing up every day and working really hard on a project, or just working really hard on the tasks that are coming through with an anticipated result in mind. Like, you've been really working really hard on this project and putting in the hours because you are hoping that this will get you a raise or a promotion or kudos from the team. Or you've been working really hard at a relationship. And so, you've been putting a lot of time and a lot of energy and a lot of thought and all of this, hoping that this is going to evolve into the relationship of your dreams. Or you've been maybe building a business, and you've been building and making all these little choices and putting in all this time, hoping that it will become this thriving success. And there's no problem in doing that. We all have to have some idea, some goal to work towards. But what this is telling me here is that when we don't surrender to spirit, when we don't at some point understand that there is this dynamic tension between destiny and free will, between our external environment and which we cannot control, and our internal environment, which we can control, that when we don't appreciate and respect that there is this intelligent design that we will never quite understand 100%. We will never understand everything about our reality. That's just a given. We will continually unlock things and we can discover new things, but we will never know everything. That if we don't at some point understand the importance behind going with the flow of lack of control, instead of letting it turn into frustration and a point of anxiety for us because we can't control our external environment. Instead, turning it into this, I understand that I can give it my all at any given time. And I understand that within my power at any moment, I have the ability to take action. I have the ability to make decisions from my authentic self and to work with my own unique abilities. And I can step up and engage with the change and my external environment, however it's coming in, whether it's with people or events, opportunities, so on. But that I have to be open and with faith, understand that the divine design is there, that it is perfect in its design. And that everything that comes up, even though I may be working towards a goal and what comes back to me is a different result, I have to realize that I cannot control that, nor would I want to, because if I could control everything, we would be living in a very different world. We'd be living either in heaven or we would be living in basically a place where everybody would be warring with everybody else. So everybody else's tangible manifestation would be at odds with everybody else's because you'd have 100% control as to what you'd manifest. And that leaves out the interconnectedness to everything. That actually banishes from your experience the beauty of the interconnectedness of everything. That beauty of when you talk about meeting that love of your life randomly somewhere where you crossed paths and you have this like, oh my gosh, I still to this day can't believe somehow we met like that. Or I still can't believe that I struck up this conversation with this guy in the grocery store and it landed me my dream job. Or I still to this day can't believe that I was lucky enough to be born in this place to my parents who gave me these amazing opportunities. That's the beauty of life. And when we stay open to it and we stay open to the understanding that we're all connected, and so therefore we cannot control everything, but that we're also perfect. We were designed to be who we are and where we are at any given time. And that's love. That's give and take of love, of being able to understand your own importance connected to the importance of everything else. So you are no more important than another person is more important than you. And that's what surrendering to spirit is all about. That you may want something very badly for yourself, but what you don't realize is that in wanting or manifesting that for yourself, it could end up hurting somebody else, or it could end up hurting you. The goal of life is not for you to suffer. There is suffering involved. And usually it's because we bring the suffering onto ourselves and we lose connection with our ability, our point of power and control, which is we have the power to control our perception and our perspective of events. Be it past, present, or future, we have the ability to control our perspective. So we can change our perspective to see something of suffering, a point of suffering, and change that into, wow, this is a point of growth for me. This is pushing me to do more. This is showing me how my life is connected to others. Because in my suffering, either A, somebody else doesn't have to suffer this, Or I get to unlock something that's going to help somebody else who is also suffering with this. Or I'm suffering under the knowledge of knowing that this was not the best for me and I just couldn't see it. But that spirit knows what is. And that I will cross paths divinely with the next love of my life. Or that this business wasn't meant to be because I will have a better idea next year that will end up allowing me to connect with another person in the same industry. And all the things I learned from building my first business, I'm going to be able to just like, bing, pull forward into this and be able to harness this. And this is where I'm really needed. This is where my contribution to the greater collective was always meant to go. But I had to learn first here. And it's not the universe holding you back from your destiny. It's the universe trying to show you your destiny. And you being open to that. You being open to the understanding that, no, I will never know everything. But that's what keeps life exciting, right? If you knew everything, if you knew the day you were going to die, and you knew everything that was going to happen in between, well, life would be boring. Or you would just simply stop engaging. You'd be like, okay, well, I know that I'm going to get that raise and that promotion tomorrow. Don't need to work any harder than I do. That kind of thing. It would stop us from being able to grow. And being able to make mistakes and being able to suffer so that we can actually grow through that suffering. Just to really honor that connection that we have to everything. And so this month, what this is telling me for you for love is it's time to remind yourself that you are you are connected to the greater all. And you are important. Virgos, you are meant to work with healing energy and the energy of communication. And that is so important. To be able to communicate and at the same time tap into the energy of healing is going to be more important now than ever. And so really what you have to understand is that if something isn't going your way or manifesting in the way that you want it to, it's because the divine design has more in store for you. And that you can clear this block between you and feeling in flow with feeling loved for who you are, and being able to then utilize your superpower of tapping into healing others and helping others and being able to communicate from a place of healing. That whatever you've gone through, whatever's being denied, or whatever pain and suffering you've had to endure up until this point, it's part of that connectedness because it's making you who you are. And that the reason why something is being withheld from you right now is because Spirit has a plan. And because you are connected with everybody else. And because what you wanted to manifest wasn't going to be the best for you, or it wasn't going to be the best for everybody. And understanding that you should feel loved as much as you should also love the fact that the divine intelligent design of the universe is not allowing something to happen for a reason, because there's more and better coming into you. So this month, going to be difficult, but it is going to be surrendering to that element of understanding that you don't and can never control everything in your external environment, but that you are connected to everything, you are important, and that if you can just surrender to that knowledge and continue to act in authentic accordance with yourself, what will manifest is what is meant for you. It is what is meant to give meaning to your suffering at this point, to whatever you're feeling that is not coming through for you. Very powerful, very, very powerful, Virgos. All right, we're going to step into looking at abundance. Now, abundance can mean many things. Of course, financial abundance can be at play, but at any given time, abundance can mean different things to us. So when we talk about wanting more abundance in specific areas, we could be talking about wanting more abundance of love, of the feeling of peace, more abundance of time, more abundance of friends and family and support. And so we're kind of looking at abundance in just the larger sense of abundance. So we'll take a look at what comes up for you. Oop, and as I say that, here comes a card. So, Virgos. We have happy, happy, and it's number 26, which if you break that down by the standards of numerology, it would be 2 plus 6 equals 8. And 8 is the power of, or 8, 8 is the number of personal empowerment. It's also a number of, can be abundance. It's usually drawing in abundance through tapping into your personal power. And the fact that it says happy, happy, and again, I love the depiction. Happy, happy. For me this month, what I'm getting intuitively from this is, aside from the fact that don't be scared to surrender whatever you're surrendering to. Yes, you may be suffering now because of the lack of an outcome that you've wanted for yourself in some capacity. Something that hasn't worked out the way that you wanted. But this really is showing that Spirit has a plan. That there's going to be this energy in June for you guys coming out of, the 10th, and if you can kind of release this tie. I really feel that what you guys are releasing in this kind of eclipse portal here, as you step through this new doorway into the best version of yourself, is really going to be releasing that tie to your expectation that something was going to happen. Whether it was a tie to this business working, or a tie to this relationship working, or a tie to, you name it. It could be a billion things. You were building a home and it was going to happen, and it was, and it just, funding fell through, a tornado came by. It's one of those things where sometimes you do just have to walk away and start fresh. And it's for a reason. That once you do, oh my gosh, what's coming in for you is going to be happy, happy. And I like to see here that she's holding a star. And the star, what the star represents in the traditional tarot, the major arcana card of the star, is about our guiding kind of North Star. That ultimate, unique to the individual kind of goal. I look at it as, what is your heaven on earth? What is that continual pull towards what you ultimately want for yourself? And everybody's guiding star is unique. It's different to them. And what I'm getting intuitively here is that your abundance this month is directly tied to you re-engaging with the why, with your why behind perhaps what is not going your way currently, what you're being asked to release on June 10th as you step into the portal of June 11th, which mirrors the universal month of, the number 11, which is June's universal number. So again, June 11th is a very powerful day of kind of moving forward fresh as this new version of yourself, of releasing something and now moving into this heightened spiritual kind of evolved version of self. And for you, I think where you're going to draw in abundance and actually feel this happy is when you get back into and using actually this retrograde energy to really take a look, to be able to kind of go within and reevaluate your why. Why did you want that outcome to begin with? Why did you want that relationship so much? Was it because you suddenly realized with this person that you wanted the family and you never felt that way before with somebody? Or why, with this job, this business you've been building, what was the original why behind it? It wasn't probably just to make money. There was something deeper there. Was it the freedom that would come with being your own boss? Was it the being of service, that what you started, your business around was going to fulfill this feeling of being able to give on a level that you have always wanted to, give on? Getting back to that original why. Because once you realize that and realize that that's your star, that's your why, that the divine design, your external environment, is working with that. Your unique spiritual self, including your star, your guiding North Star, your why behind what you do, the drive and the meaning that you ascribe to everything that you do, that is also part of the grand design. And so your external environment is going to work with it. Now, we can choose to work against it by pushing and pushing and pushing towards something that is outside of that grand design. And then we can stay frustrated for our entire life, or we can live in a place of anxiety because we keep trying to control our external environment instead of honoring the fact that there's, for a reason, we can't, because we cannot control every single other person's experience. We can be a part of it. We get to be a part of it. And so what we have to do is we have to kind of honor ourselves and our why and realize, okay, if I have to give up this business or I have to give up this relationship, it's not me giving up my why. It's not me saying, well, I guess I'll just never have that. Since this partnership's not working out, I guess I'll just never have that home and family. Because I could only have it with this one person. And it's like, no. No, if your why now is you want to have a relationship so that it will grow into this home and family, well, don't change that. Now you've just discovered that part about yourself. Now understand that the universe wanted you to discover that. And now they're going to bring in something that's going to make you feel like this. Like working with your star is making you happy. Same thing with a job. You should feel like that job, the why behind it is like this. So if you can get back into feeling, okay, what was the original why behind my job? And if I have to give up a business, well, if my original why was to be of service in this specific area, how else can I be of service in this area? And maybe that's really where the divine design is trying to guide you, to say like, okay, we wanted you to work with this. To feel what it felt like to work with us. But now we're really going to bring in the opportunity for you and show you where you can, utilize that part of yourself. Or maybe it's not giving up completely. Maybe it's just reminding yourself of the why behind it. Maybe you got so focused on the financial side and you forgot that you started this business not for the why, but because you wanted to be of service, or because you wanted to share this part of yourself. Or because you wanted the freedom and all of a sudden you realize that you're stressed all the time and you're tied to your phone on social media and you're tied to all of these things, and that what you originally intended to get from running this business, which was freedom and more free time for yourself and being able to have your own schedule, isn't manifesting. You're instead becoming a victim to the business. And now the universe is trying to show you that again, trying to remind you of the reason why it's not working out the way that you want is because it's not tied to your why. You lost sight of your why. And so now it's time to go back to that. And maybe just simply reevaluating, okay, so I started the business to have more freedom in my life. What do I need to start changing? What's in my control to change? So I can change. I don't have to be on social media 100% of the time. Or maybe I cut back my social media platforms to just one or two instead of trying to be on all of them. Or maybe it's time for me to hire somebody. Maybe I don't need to do all my own marketing, or maybe I don't need to package every single shipment by myself. And so these are the things where you get to work. This is where you co-create with spirit. Where instead of looking at spirit as this external thing that's kind of always at odds with you, and that you should be wary of or scared of or trying to control. Instead, looking at it as this is your partner. Your ultimate partner in life is spirit, is the greater connectedness, is the unknown, is God, is the divine, is the universe, whatever you choose to call it. That is your co-creator. That is like your friend through everything. And so when you start to change your perception of working with your external environment, start to look at it like that, like, okay, my friend's just simply trying to remind me of why I was supposed to be doing this. They're trying to show me where something's not working. They're trying to show me where I don't feel like this, because in reality, this is what the universe wants you to feel. The universe wants you to feel happy, happy. And they want you to feel happy, happy from working from a place of the number 8, of working from a place of divine empowerment, of attracting abundance through authentic expression. I think if you can simply use the portal of this month, Virgos, as a way to adjust your perspective. It's kind of like one of those movies where you get to you get to see the character go back in time a bunch of times, and then he or she starts to see different things or sees how things would have turned out differently. It's almost like that. It's almost like going back and reevaluating whatever is currently not coming out, whatever you feel hasn't manifested the way that you wanted it to, whatever aspect of your life. And to go back in time and kind of take a look at, okay, why, what did I miss? And how can I change my perspective of that? How can I change my perception of what happened? And how can I draw that into my present moment now to say, okay, if my external environment, if spirit is my co-creator, they're my buddy in life as I co-create what will make me feel the most emotionally fulfilled and happy and joyous. What are they trying to show me now? What have I missed previously? And how can I change my perception of it and realize that now they want me to remind me of something or remind me that something better is coming in. So I can look back at the past and be like, oh yeah, I remember when I so wanted that. And now I look back and go, oh my God, if that would have happened, my life would have taken such a different turn and it would have been terrible and I would have hated that, or I would have hated being with that person, or if I would have moved, this and that would have never happened. It's about reminding yourself of those divine moments that have really made you who you are, those divine moments of beauty, and tap back into that awe and wonder associated with your co-creator, with the unknown, with your external environment. Okay, Virgos, now we're going to move into spirit animal deck here. And this is going to be taking a look at your spiritual health for this month. Now, I talk about spiritual health. I talk about the health of the dynamic and relationship between you being aware of your internal unique spiritual self, all of your unique abilities, hopes, dreams, your internal star, your why, and how healthy are you connecting that to your external environment. All right, let's see. Ooh, my card come right out here. We have Elephant Spirit, learn from the past. I hate to laugh, Virgos, but I feel like this is just driving home again. It's time to reevaluate and to see what your best buddy, spirit, your co-creator, partner, is trying to tell you. Elephants have a long memory. So do humans generally. But a lot of times our memory can be skewed. So when you're thinking about this, think about all the times when you thought you remembered something and then realized you remembered it incorrectly. Or take a look at this now and say, okay, I'm going to use my lengthy elephant memory to go back in time, and I am going to be honest with myself. I'm going to learn from the past. I'm going to be honest and honestly take a look at all these points in the past where I did want something and it didn't happen. And it happened, and that was for a reason. Or just things, again, breakups, being fired from a job, being forced to move, and really understanding that all of those had a divine purpose. And if you can choose to see the divine purpose and choose to change your perspective to see the interconnectedness of how those experiences, those points of suffering for you actually connected you to the greater all, that much more, that much, how am I trying to say this? Just that much more. That in those moments where you were suffering, where something didn't work out, it was because it was highlighting how much you are connected to everybody else, that you don't live on an island where you have the ability to manifest whatever you want with full control. You live with other people, and in something not working out quite right, or, that lesson was meant to show you your connectedness to others and to also show your power in your connectedness to others, to show how important it is to always keep in mind that the reason why we don't have full control over our external environment is because we get to live as a part of everything. And because these mistakes and these points that didn't work out for us were only pulling us back to our path, back to our place, showing us where we are part of this divine design. So, to reconnect best with your internal self and authentically with your external environment, it's just about understanding your place, your importance through looking at what's happened in your life and really realizing that Spirit's been with you this whole time. And where you are today is exactly where you're meant to be. Just like where you were then and going through that, experience, or, whatever suffering that you've been dealing with was exactly what you were meant to. There is meaning behind it. You did not suffer needlessly. It is there for you to unlock that superpower of yours, the very base level underlying superpower that you have of working with the energy of healing and being able to healing in communication and actually healing through communication. And tapping back into that, but realizing how you as a unique individual will work with that energy and be able to express it uniquely. Love this reading. This is a kind of an important reading for you guys, for you Virgos out there. I think a lot of you have forgotten that you have the ability to not only heal others, but to heal yourself. That is your superpower. And I think this month is going to be showing you the doorway back to being able to utilize your own powers on yourself. Okay, I'm going to pull just a couple extra, one or two tarot cards to get an additional reading for you guys this month. Let's see. Oop, here we are. Oh, Virgos. We have the Nine of Swords. And the Nine of Swords is basically the card of overthinking. It's the card of worry. It's the card of being kept up at night by the what ifs. But they're just thoughts. That's the thing with the Nine of Swords. The Nine of Swords usually shows somebody, in the traditional tarot, will show somebody sitting up in bed at night with just the illusion of the swords behind them. And that's kind of what it's showing, that these are just thoughts. These are just, what ifs exist in a land of non-existence. When you think about, yes, we have the ability of as humans to bring a thought into reality. And usually in order to do that, you have to also bring that through the realm of the emotional core of yourself to be able to bring that into reality. But without putting, without actually putting action behind the thought. Thoughts are just thoughts. Thoughts exist outside of our tangible physical reality. So you can think about a bazillion things. It doesn't mean that they're going to manifest in the real world. So you can think about, a four-eyed monster that looks like a mix of something from Alien and Terminator and whatever. But that doesn't mean that when you look under your bed, that's actually going to physically exist there. Instead, it's something that you're just torturing yourself with in your mind. And the mental space is a very strange space. It's kind of that space for humans to get trapped in. We can get trapped in actually any aspect of our existence, be it physical, spiritual, emotional, or mental. But mental seems to be the easiest for us to get trapped in because we have this ability in the mental space to actually envision something that only we can see. And a lot of times what will happen is we get stuck in this place of almost like a hyperloop of like on repeat of us torturing ourselves with the same monster that again only we can see. And other people are like, what are you talking about? There is no monster under the bed. And you're like, but I see it. I see it. And they're like, well, I can't see it. So what are you talking about? And this is where when we try to hyper rationalize something, we can get ourselves into trouble, where we start to go down the what if or the why path. And as we're doing that, we're seeing in our head all the alternative things that could have happened, and we're recreating in our mind's eye something that never was. This is where memory and perception and imagination all kind of blur together to create our own version of events. There was that TV show on for a while called The Affair, and it was a beautiful depiction of what it's like. That the whole show was basically, each episode was it would show from one person's perspective a series of events, and then the other half of the show, the same episode, was showing the same series of events but from the other person's perspective. And it was so different. It was so wild to be able to see the difference of how somebody could take the same event, the same scenario, the same situation, and be able to take away from it something completely different. And yet, you kind of look at it as reality, or the truth is somewhere in between. That was true to this person, and this perspective was true to that person. But it's almost like here in the mental space, what I'm seeing here for you guys, and for this coming up, and I'm sorry, I'm kicking this. I need to readjust myself here. What I'm seeing here for you guys is that you've been stuck in this mental place. You've been stuck in the tower of the monster realm. Instead of harnessing this space to be able to utilize the best of what we can, which is our imaginations, to create, to pull from the divine, and kind of use this mental space as like our work table of like, ooh, let me think about this and try this out on for size and that kind of thing. We instead utilize it as a place of imprisonment, of us being locked in with something. And those can be the ghosts of the past. Those can be our perceptions of something that we're perceiving in a negative way, which is instead something positive. We're stuck, usually it's more the ghosts of the past or anxiety towards the future. So when I see this card, what I'm seeing here is that you guys are not living in the present moment. That you're really hyper fixated on either, again, being traumatized by suffering from the past, or you're so worried about the future, and you're worried as to why, however you're suffering, whatever is not coming to fruition the way that you were hoping to, is going to affect you in the future. And the one thing about the future is it's a projection. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. This is how, again, the external environment, we will never be able to predict the future. And all the overthinking and all the worry and all the what ifs, we could go and think endlessly on what ifs and still be surprised by the future. And that's the unknown part of it. And that's where we have to realize that that's our point of release. That's our point of surrender. Coming full circle back to your, surrender to spirit, is that spirit's got your back. Spirit's your co-creator. Your spirit doesn't want you to endlessly be stuck in this hyperloop of what if this happens, what if that happens. What Spirit's like, look, just be yourself. Just keep being yourself. Keep being aware of yourself. Please step back into your place of personal power. Please utilize your gifts of healing and communication. And I'm working on it. Trust me, what's going to happen is meant for you. But please, please, please don't keep yourself up at night trying to guess, because that's my job. Speaking from the external. And I think if you guys can simply just, as you walk through that portal on the 10th, that new moon portal, and just, again, it's a solar eclipse. So it's almost like letting the darkness just kind of envelop you, and to walk through, instead of being afraid of the darkness and afraid of the monsters that could be there, the monsters that you see in your mind's eye. Instead, use that day to really sit with the darkness in full faith that the divine has your back. And that when the lights come back on, what you're going to see is not the monsters that you've been living with, or the suffering, or the failures that you think are happening or have happened. Instead, what you're going to see is this. The lights are going to come on, and you're going to see that you're surrounded by unicorns and Care Bears and rainbows and puppies, and and you never had anything to be scared of to begin with. You just had to tap back into that faith. Tap back into that element of getting back to your core self, that darkness, that place where there's nothing and everything at the same time. And having faith that the external environment and the divine design has so much in store for you, that you are of importance, and that what's coming through is important, but you have to be ready for it. You have to be almost cleansed of your tied to what should have been, because that tie to what should have been won't allow you to walk through the door that Spirit's holding open for you. It's kind of like if you think about co-creating with the divine. This is where free will comes in, where let's say you have a business partner and that business partner is like, okay, we've purchased all of the stuff, all of our products, we've packaged them. All right, we have, 28 sales sitting in our portal, and okay, tomorrow let's start opening up these orders, processing them, and sending them out. And you're like, no, I was expecting us to have 200 orders instead of 28 orders, and I want to wait to process everything until I have 200 orders. And your coworker's like, wait, what are you talking about? You have 28 orders. Like, we have to process these. If we don't, people are going to cancel. And you're like, no, I saw that I was going to have 200 orders. And if I don't have 200 orders, I'm not taking action to process these and to ship these out, and I'm not going to do any of it. And your friend's like, what the H, buddy? Like, I'm trying to help you here. Like, I just helped you do all this stuff, line up all these things. And what are you talking about? We'll get more orders the next day, and the next day, and the next day. In fact, if you just do these today, We might get another 28. And instead of waiting until we have 200 and we're so overwhelmed and can't process all of them efficiently, just start with the 28. And you're like, nope, not going to do it. And then all the people cancel and you get bad reviews. And suddenly the 200, orders are never going to happen. So that's where you have to realize that you have to take those opportunities to walk through those doors as the universe is working with you, because the universe wants you to be happy. They want you to succeed. The universe and your external environment want to work with you, not against you. It wants you to feel in flow. It wants you to feel loved. It wants you to feel that you get the chance to be your best self and to work towards your why, your guiding North Star. But you have to take what's given to you with gratitude. To say, okay, thank you for these 28 orders. I wanted 200, but I have faith that that's what's still yet to come. And if it doesn't, maybe what's yet to come is not the 200 orders, but it's 2,000 orders. It's 20,000 orders. I don't know. But I know today at least I have 28. And that's the beauty of being able to release. To being able to release that expectation and to understand that generally when we release expectations on that level, what comes in is so much more. And on a level that we can't imagine. We can try to imagine all the crazy, amazing outcomes for ourselves, but most of the time, what actually happens is we end up getting so much more that we didn't even know existed, so we couldn't even ask for it. We couldn't even imagine it. And I think that's really where, when you look at this, learn from the past, not only looking at your failures, but also where you were so surprised by at that point in your life, and then looking forward to where you went and what you achieved, that you would never have been at this point able to see all the benefits that came up. You weren't even able to understand that, like, when I made that choice to move here, that this was actually going to bring in this, and I wasn't even looking for that. I moved there for love, and that relationship totally fell apart, but it landed me a job in a career field now that I never thought I was going to get into, and has led to all this success. But I've been so hyper-focused on the relationship that didn't work. And that's the change in perspective. And that's the seeing how you wanted one result, and the universe gave you another that you couldn't have even imagined for yourself in that moment. Okay, Virgos, this is where I'm going to end it. I'm just going to remind you that your superpowers are all about tapping into your ability to work with the energy of healing and the energy of communication, and in healing through communication. Tap back into that this month. Release your tie to outcomes. Understand that there is an element of lack of control for your external environment, but it's only meant to highlight your importance and connectedness and place within the greater all. And if you can release your expectations this month and get back to the why behind whatever you feel you are not having full abundance in and a full flow of love in, when you can re-engage with the why behind that that's unique to you, that's going to be the key to unlocking the door and stepping through that 11 portal this month. All right, Virgos, I will see you in July. The world needs you guys, so please, 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 please be reminded that I know suffering is hard, but that you have a place and a meaning, and that this was all meant for something bigger and better, because you're meant to help others. All right, guys. So long, and I'll see you in July.